I think it's close enough to the 6 o'clock hour that we can begin, and I want to welcome each one of you to our regular meeting of the School District of Oconee County Board of Trustees. Tonight, September 20th. As we begin all of our meetings, we begin with a moment of silence, and if you would like to join us, you're welcome to, and if not, we will have that moment of silence now. Amen. I ask you now to stand with me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Justice for all.
Last week, each of you received an agenda for tonight's meeting, September 20th, 2021. Did anybody have any changes, anything on it? All right, if not, then it was, with no objection, it is approved as presented. It's now time for public comment. As you know, this is limited to 30 minutes, and this week we had 9 people sign up who wanted to speak. So, again, I have the authority to change the 5-minute limit. So I'm going to ask that you try your best to refrain from going more than 3 minutes with your comments. Many of the comments are the same. You know, I think we did so well last week because so many people got to speak and they all were well respected, and I just ask you that we do that again tonight. So we will start our 30 minutes of public comment at this time. And Mrs. Bay, if you will call our first speaker.
Anything on this week? All right.
So now everybody can hear. There we go. Last week this was not on, so people couldn't hear what I said. But so we'll go over kind of the same things. There is a fight for CRT creeping into the schools. There's a lady here that came in a few meetings ago and said that she was going to use her white privilege to see that these type ideas are taught. One of the ladies here on this board will be speaking at their meeting on Sunday, so we know how one of you stand. But either way, just wanted to bring it back up so that people can hear me this time, that Mr. Thorson, when we brought that to you last time, that with the book that I brought, within 48 hours it was in the paper that there was no proof to the pudding. And all the teachers reached out to me and said that you didn't communicate with a single one of them. So it's hard to do an investigation without speaking to the people who are making the complaints. So therefore it appears to be 100% cover-up. So since everybody can hear me, I want to once again put out there that we are looking for a third-party investigation for somebody who is not personal friends of the people that are being investigated, which Mr. Thorson, I believe, is. So therefore, we would all like to see, and if that has to come out of somebody's pocket, I'm sure that we'll all be happy to pitch in and pay the bill. But we want to see some accurate truth here on this. And I want to read you something right quick. I know I got 3 minutes only. This right here is from the Oconee County Democratic Party. School board meeting Monday night. It is critical that we are represented at the school district board meeting. Please plan to attend in person and mass. Plan to arrive early at 5:30 to claim as many seats as possible. We want to fill the seats with pro-public schools, pro-mask in schools, pro-vaccine people. A small vocal minority is attending the school board meetings and threatening to remove any member who does not vote their way. That's me. I'm one of that, but it's not a small majority. I'm simply a spokesperson for a very large group. Now, sign up to speak now to discuss your support of COVID protocols in schools and other pro-public, anti-racist education issues. Only 30 minutes are allowed for public comment at the beginning of each meeting, 5-minute limit. If we fill the slots, the lunatic right wing don't get to speak. to speak, sign up by contacting Sandra Bay. That's your party. Thank you. All right. We are here to speak. We are paying attention. People are going to lose jobs. The question is, which ones of you are going to be the one? It's not a personal attack. I want you to understand this. This is not a personal attack, and I know some of you looking around. I'll be real quick. So it's simply policy. If you do policy that the people are against, the people will vote with the people in your place. Thank you.
We call the next speaker.
Chad Overholt.
Good evening, guys. Is it on?
Probably not.
Oh, it was turned.
Okay. There we go. Just want to tell you guys good evening. Thank you for all you guys do. It really is appreciated. I do know that we are continuing to fight against and let y'all guys know how we feel about what I believe is the beginning, and that is a mask mandate. I still believe that that's where a lot of problems start. Do y'all guys know that in New York City, the beacon of all of this, that they would make their kids sit outside during lunch and will not let them speak during lunch? They're not allowed to speak during lunch because of this fear that this mask mandate entails. They've even went as far as voting. There's people that would actually vote to say that kids shouldn't have lunch if the weather's not nice outside because it's too dangerous. That is insanity. This is where, if y'all guys want to know why we're so passionate about this mask mandate, because we believe this is where it starts. We all know where vaccines are, and we're not against neither one of them, but we are against not having the choice. And we will fight, and we will fight long and hard for this. We believe in it passionately. We are not against masks, and we are not against vaccines. We are 100% against a mandate for both. And we know it starts with a mask mandate, and we just will continue to let you guys know that that is the voice of Oconee County, and that is what a majority of Oconee County believes. We currently rank 44th in the country in education. That's where we need to fight. We need to support our teachers. We need to love our teachers. We need to love our nurses that are here. I think the lady was sitting here last week who was awesome, who said, you know what, we need to back up some of this stuff that's being implemented is nonsense, and we need to back up and let's make some different decisions. I was proud of her. I thought she did an excellent job, and I think that that's what it's going to take from you guys when it comes time, because it's going to come back. We're confident that they're not going to let this thing die, and as long as this virus is around, these kind of things, especially starting with the mask mandate, will continue to come up. And what's the next thing, and what's the next thing, and what's the next thing? Those who will give up a little bit of liberty for a little bit of safety really deserve neither. And that comes from Benjamin Franklin. And I think you guys need to remember that. When we start backing up our liberties for safety, pretty soon we will have neither. It's been proven over and over in New York and LA over and over. I mean, those people are fleeing those places. And there's a reason why. To us as parents, this is one of the places that starts locally, and we're going to continue to say that. So thank you guys. You are appreciated.
Good evening. When I was first initially scheduled to speak tonight, I wanted to talk about my son, who has autism, and the facts that the meeting that we have on the first day of elementary school, those restraints that were put on him, and I had research that proves that every special needs kid is suffering from that, and it's the restraint on social harm, just the word I'm looking for. Just the lack of social interaction is really hurting these kids. But I found out something that was more important and that was more scary. And that's that I have here with me for every one of you. This is not even going to last that long. What this is that I have in here is basically It's basically a declaration of war on the parents of Oconee County. It's a list straight from the Democratic Party of Oconee County stating all the problems with CRT. I also have the flyer that one of the members of this board are going to be at a fundraiser for that party. We're looking to restrain the parents of this county. And it's ridiculous. It's sickening. It's disgusting that a political party would come in here and stop parents from going and bringing up their concerns to this board to try and get things fixed because they want to push their own agenda and their own ideology on the kids of this county. They're not fighting the Republican Party. They're fighting the parents of this county. And it's ridiculous. And the fact that this board won't sit here and call a vote and say, no, we're not going to do this, stop it, because these board meetings are becoming a war zone. And it's becoming a war zone across this country. And it's ridiculous. It's supposed to be about the education of our kids. Well, that mission statement right there, it means something. And people want to come in here and fight about politics. And it's stupid. We've got to stop this. I want y'all to seriously stop pushing politics on these kids. It's absolutely ridiculous. We need to bring up issues that actually matter. I know y'all are tired of this COVID fight. Every week, every meeting, it's a fight about COVID. The Supreme Court's already ruled that the mask can't be pushed. Dr. Thorson, you've made that statement very clear. Thank you. But it's enough. Thank you.
Nick Carvallis.
Hi, can you hear me? I'm going to keep it brief. I want to thank you for this opportunity to come and have my voice heard, and I think I represent quite a few people, parents of Oconee County school children. I'm not going to try and talk about whether or not we think masks should be the thing that we do or not. What I'm going to talk about is harm, okay? I'm willing to accept that maybe masks aren't the right thing to do. But the harm, if I'm wrong, is that a bunch of kids and a bunch of teachers just have a piece of cloth over their face. I want other people to think about what's the harm if they're wrong. Okay? That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Linda Holt.
Madam Chair, as I represent an organization, NAMI, would I have the full 10 minutes I have been told I would have? I'm sorry. Do I have the full 10 minutes or not?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
7.
7? Okay. I gave a copy of my comments to the secretary, so if anyone wants to see the rest of them later. So I'll just kind of skip over them. So my name's Linda Holt, and I'm a resident of Oconee County, and I'm a board member of the local affiliate for NAMI. And the NAMI is an acronym for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And NAMI is a national organization, but we have a local affiliate that covers Anderson, Oconee, and Pickens counties. The national NAMI, as well as the local affiliate, offers many different opportunities to educate the public about mental health issues and offer a lot of support groups for people who are suffering from mental illness and also for family members of those who have mental illness. Our local affiliate has several different projects that we work on, including training law enforcement officers for crisis intervention training. I actually participate in that as role-playing scenarios for the officers to practice the skills that they learn. Also, I'm one of the facilitators for our family support groups, as I have a family member who has a mental illness. Let's see. So one of NAMI's main goals is to ensure that people get help early. Since mental health conditions typically begin during childhood, adolescence, or young adulthood, we have compiled essential information and resources intended to help young people get the mental health support they need. Mental health conditions are very common. Research shows that 1 in 6 youth or adolescents will experience a mental health condition in any given time. Additionally, 50% of all lifetime mental health conditions begin before the age of 14, and 75% start before the age of 24. However, identifying warning signs or symptoms and seeking treatment early can make a difference in reducing the impact of a mental health condition. I want to make sure y'all are aware of one of the programs that NAMI provides called Ending the Silence. It is a prevention and early intervention presentation that engages youth, school staff, and families in a discussion about mental health. It's available free for 3 different audiences: students, families, and school staff. It's presented by a trained group of a young adult, ages 18 to 35, with a mental health condition, along with an adult with a mental health condition or a family member of a person who has a mental health condition. Audience members learn to recognize the early warning signs of mental health conditions and what to do if they or someone they know is showing these signs. By engaging youth, school staff, and families in a discussion about mental health conditions, young people dealing with mental health conditions realize they're not alone. NAMI's Ending the Silence program does not recommend or endorse any medications or other medical therapies. The NAMI Ending the Silence program was developed in 2007 in a NAMI affiliate in Illinois. And then in 2013, they generously gifted the program to the national NAMI for oversight and technical assistance. So our local affiliate for NAMI, NAMI AOP, coordinates the distribution of Ending the Silence for middle and high schools through a paid coordinator, Ms. Bethany Henry. Ms. Henry started working on this initiative in August of 2019. Since that time, Ending the Silence has been presented in person or virtually through schools across the state and has reached over 18,000 participants. Let's see. I'll just give you one comment. I had a couple, but one comment of a student made after going through this presentation. This student said, I believe I've had depression since 7th grade. I've been holding it in for a really long time. After hearing the presentation, I went home and told my mom. I told her I need help with this because it is something I cannot fix myself. I have tried and tried. Now, after school today, I have a meeting with a psychiatrist. I'm really scared, but I know I'm doing the right thing. So I think that's a student whose life has been changed by that program. Since September is National Suicide Prevention Month, Ms. Henry initiated a Go Lime Green suicide prevention campaign as an additional means of engagement. Now, lime green is the color that is branded for suicide prevention. So some people wonder why lime green, but it stands out. And that initiative uses school football games to reinforce the materials presented, unify students and faculty in fun and public commitment, and recognize the school's administration for their support. I went to one of these events at the Wynn football game a couple of Friday nights ago, and it was amazing. There was so much energy produced about these students and how excited they were to learn about mental health and how they could be a lifesaver. So I'm going to skip down the 2 asks I have of you tonight as board members. Is please direct the Department of Student Services, Safety, and Security to engage with the NAMI organization and Mrs. Henry specifically to explore opportunities for sharing the Ending the Silence program in the middle and high schools in Oconee County. I provided you with a couple of flyers. This one has information at the bottom about a webinar. It's a 1-hour webinar that anybody can call into. We'd love to have this information shared through the schools as much as possible. I also gave you a flyer that is designed to be posted in schools, on bulletin boards and bathrooms anywhere. And it has little tags at the bottom for students to be able to pull off to know where they can get help. We're really excited about the event this Saturday, the Hike for Hope. And we will have a table there. Ms. Henry will be there. I won't be there personally, but I'm really excited about the opportunity to coordinate our efforts for the students of this county. Thank you.
Ron Zielinski. Whitney Huskamp.
Good evening. My name is Whitney Huskamp. I wanted to thank you guys for allowing me to speak today. I know all of you are in a hard position to make decisions for, I know it personally, my granddad sat up there as superintendent for 18 years, Fred Hamilton, and he also served there for a long time. So I know what you guys will do is not easy. But I have two little girls, one who is currently attending Northside Elementary, the other who will be attending in a couple of years. And my oldest is actually in 2nd grade, so 2 years ago in kindergarten, her kindergarten got cut off short. And for a lot of those, that can be such a hard time because kindergarten is such a vital year, learning how to read, and then coming back to school the next year is also hard. That wasn't a hard decision for us because our oldest is an extrovert. She needs that social interaction because that is who she is. But it was hard for her. It was hard for her to go in, to be masked, to have to sit away from her friends, to be told daily, all right guys, you can't really be around each other, you need to sit apart, you don't really, okay, I know you have friends in other classes, I know you might see them in the hallway, but again, don't get near them, and that can be so hard for kids. I really appreciate them coming in for NAMI for mental illness because that is something that we are dealing with this COVID stuff. You see the studies, how much suicide has gone up, and it's getting younger and younger, 10, 11-year-olds. You know, when I was in school, it was never heard of, rarely. And now it's 10, 11, 12-year-olds. They're babies. They are still babies. And you know, I think last year is a time that was just hard for my daughter in general because she lost a grandmother. I lost my mom. And having her to go to school, you don't get those hugs, you don't get those things from that. So what I ask of you today is think about that. You know, the school board is made up of elected officials to carry out the will of the community. So what do those people want? How are you finding out what those people in your district want? Do they want masks, and are you voting for that? Or are you voting against that? And what else are we doing? Are we talking about boosting their immune systems with vitamins? Hey, longer recess. So many people are vitamin D deficient. Take them outside longer. So those are things that when you do discuss masks, and whether you decide to implement them or not, ask that you find out what the people in your districts want. Thank you.
Shereen Head.
I'd like to thank you guys for what you do, and I know all the stuff is hard. I'm Shereen Head. First, I'd like to start by saying that at last board meeting, you emphasized the fact that you wanted to keep as many kids in school as possible. I mean, and we now know the Supreme Court has sided with the majority, also the freedom of choice. Thank God they remember we still live in America. With that choice being made, you too also have a choice choose what is best for your county, listen to your majority. Like Ms. Houston said, your hands are not tied. You make the choice to go with DHEC guidelines. You choose to eliminate, you can choose to eliminate sending healthy children home just in case. This is also put into effect by DHEC to, I'm sure, pressure the boards into making mask mandates. But honestly, children, I mean, it doesn't make sense to send 9 kids home for 1 kid being sick, as the chart said that you guys posted a couple of weeks ago. Just because, and then 2, because they're all wearing masks. It doesn't make any sense. And DHEC, I mean, you can choose to disregard the seating charts and simply go with what makes sense. Until a child has symptoms, let them be. I mean, we have nurses, they can check the temperature, they can check for symptoms. That's what they're for. I mean, death cases in children in South Carolina, the 2 children that died in Aiken County had underlying conditions. One was in a wheelchair and would not wear a mask if it were mandated, because several special needs children cannot do so. I found it ironic that the group that advocates for special needs children were the ones trying to push the mask mandates with the Supreme Court, pushing normal kids to wear masks to somehow protect their children that cannot wear masks. If you have a child that's more vulnerable, have them wear a mask if it makes you feel safer, but do not bully the school system to require everyone to. It's just not, it's unjust. And finally, I mean, you know, we know that the fully vaccinated can still give and die of COVID. So the push to separate the 2 groups is now watered down because one group is no safer than the other in the factual realm. I hear people, you know, talking about the numbers because dictators love numbers and charts, but again, how will you know until you get it? Regardless of what any chart says, you might be the exception. Either way, you as an individual will take a chance with the virus, with the vaccine, or without a vaccine. Every individual has to ask those questions of themselves. No one should be mandated to take anything that may or may not work. It's not a flu shot. The vaccines kill people too, just like COVID. You just don't know until it's, you know, you. And I mean, up until saying that it's moral ground, the facts remain to be considered. DHEC guides you. You can choose to make your own choice regardless of what DHEC says.
All right, we thank each of you who spoke tonight. Thank you for sharing your views. All right, this time we will begin our regular meeting, and we begin that with the approval of minutes. Now, y'all received minutes from the August 16th, 2021 combined board meeting, August 31st, 2021 special call board meeting, and the September 13th, 2021 work session meeting. Did anybody see anything, have any corrections on those? All right, then those 3 sets of minutes will stand approved with no objection. And at this time, Dr. Thorson will have the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. McCormick. Just a couple of quick things tonight. I told you last week that the numbers seem to be on the decline at this point. That is still holding up. I looked this afternoon after DHEC updated their positive case counts on their website today. September 4th was the peak day for the 7-day average of positive cases in South Carolina, 5,543. As of today, that number's down below 4,000, so a little higher than a 25% reduction on the 7-day case count, so that's certainly good news. If you drill that down to Oconee County on August 30th, was our high of about 116 cases a day, 7-day average, and that number is down to 80. We did see a little rise for a couple of days. That's going back down, so that is our lowest 7-day average since August 24th, I believe. So it appears that numbers are going in the right direction, which is encouraging, and we still hope to be able to kind of get back to normal as soon as possible. We did announce primarily our most restrictive environments are the elementary schools. Those are certainly the students who don't have the choice to get vaccinated at this time. We announced at the beginning of the year that we would kind of put some interventions in place through the first 9 weeks, which would be mid-October. And our goal is hopefully, if these numbers keep falling, that we'll be able to kind of open things back up, like field trips and visitors and things like that at that time, but we'll continue monitoring that. The other just piece of information I wanted to share with you, and you may have read it, I'm actually looking at WGOG's site. Mr. Mangrum has reported it there, but County Council will hear a presentation from Christy Hubbard tomorrow night about millage recommendations for the county. They are voting tomorrow night, so they'll not only hear the presentation, but they'll set millage tomorrow night. Ms. Moore and I went across the street earlier today and met with Ms. Hubbard, so we feel good about what she plans to recommend, and I think it'll be hopefully a positive meeting tomorrow night, and we'll know a little bit more about our budget. I still always think it's a little bit backwards in South Carolina that we have to get you guys to approve a budget, county council approves a budget, and we don't know what millage is until September, 2 months into the budget year, but that's where we are, and that'll take place tomorrow night, so we should watch the news on Wednesday morning, and I'm sure they'll let us know where those values were set. And I think that is all I had.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Hampton.
Thank you. I know there was discussion asking about a Seneca Middle School update, so I'm happy to provide that with what we can. It's been a long process, and we still have ways to go, but the good news is the timeline remains the same for opening that we told you back in February, August of 2024. We have been working through Duke Energy and with Trail Jump Seats and our district team to work through the power line situation that's running through the property, and we feel like in the last several months we've made a lot of progress on that. We actually have a timeline for that, which has been moved up about 4 months from what they originally gave us, and gets us close to the window that Trail needs to get the building going. So we're looking at that happening and those lines being changed out in mid-March of next year. Part of it will depend exactly on when they can shut down. There's a plant that will have to close and go offline for about 8 hours to 12 hours while they actually switch the power over. So they're working with that, but we've got a window, and it's no later than the end of March. We received last week our permits from DHEC for erosion control, and they approved our erosion control plan from our engineers. So we are scheduling our pre-construction meeting for next Monday, where we go on site, which is required by law to go on site. And then, if weather permits, in about 4 weeks, we think the dirt should be pushed where they need it for deep power. We're going to kind of get their areas set up first, and then we're going to work on the areas away from where they're going to be moving the lines with the civil work. The A&E drawings are about 80% done. We have a meeting on Wednesday in Greenville. We're going to go over a few more of the details. We're now looking at things like ceiling heights a little closer, and kind of looking at any kind of value engineering we may still be able to do to keep costs down. As most everybody knows, with everything, costs have gone up for materials and supplies. There's also a lot of wait time for a lot of the materials. So we've actually looked at some materials, and because they kind of gave us a heads up that in the next couple months there's going to be an 8 to 10% increase, we have pre-ordered some things and trying to get ahead of it, things we know we'll need, especially for the storm control and erosion control. But material costs are a concern. We hope to have the bid documents ready to go out in November. Usually give them 2 to 3 weeks with that, and then we'll have the meeting and select the subcontractors and go through that. So basically, we're trying to look for ways to keep the budget in line and ensure that the Seneca Middle School gets the facility that they need and deserve.
Anybody have any questions? Sounds great. Thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
Under action items, the first one was the South Carolina School Board Association voting delegates. When I started looking at this, we first talked about it last week. Our delegate information does not have to be in until November 15th, and they have not yet sent out the agenda for the meeting or any of the details of the meeting. So I would like a motion that we table this vote until our second meeting in October. That would be October 18th. And we could decide on our delegates when we have a little more information on what's going on at the December meeting.
So moved.
So if I have a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. All right. Tonight, we also have as an action item the second reading on policy CCE, the organizational chart. And we've had this before for several weeks to look at. Anybody have any?
I can just, brief summary, it really gets us in line with the organizational structure that we have here at the district office. Just an update to clarify a couple of titles and make sure a couple of positions that weren't listed on the previous version are listed. But this is an accurate reflection of the district leadership.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? As I said, we've looked at it several weeks. So, if there's nothing else, then I will ask for a motion to approve on second reading policy CCE organizational chart.
So move.
Second. All right, all in favor? Great. And that is the end of our regular meeting. At this time, we will go into executive session for employment recommendations and changes and a legal update concerning employee requests for Jameson Brown professional development presentations. Are there any objections to executive session?